The story begins in the year 654 AD, during the reign of the Tang Empire, which held power over the entire Chinese mainland. In its quest to expand territory, the Tang Dynasty, led by Emperor Taizong, launched an invasion of Korea with the goal of conquering the kingdom of Goguryeo. The Tang army advanced towards a strategic border fortress located in the Jupil mountain region of Korea. Meanwhile, the Goguryeo kingdom quickly prepared its defense, determined to protect its land. Goguryeo forces, numbering 150,000 soldiers, were led by General Yun. However, they faced the challenge of combating Tang's army of 200,000 troops under Emperor Taizong. At the beginning of the battle, Goguryeo's army gained the upper hand. Their cavalry successfully broke through the defenses of Tang's archers and penetrated the infantry line. In this dire situation, Emperor Taizong's advisor suggested retreating, but the emperor remained composed, confident in his army's ability to endure. On the other side, Goguryeo's leaders grew confident as their troops fought fiercely. However, Emperor Taizong had a plan. He deployed his cavalry to flank Goguryeo's forces from both sides, launching a surprise attack. Soon after, the Tang cavalry overwhelmed the Goguryeo soldiers, leaving them with heavy casualties. Realizing the dire situation, General Yun ordered his troops to retreat. In the end, out of 150,000 soldiers, only 10,000 survived. Following this victory, Emperor Taizong captured a woman named Shimi. It was revealed that Shimi was a seer who had served under the late King Yang, the founder of the Goguryeo kingdom. Using her capture to his advantage, Emperor Taizong devised his next mission, capturing Ansi Fortress, the last obstacle standing between him and the Goguryeo capital. Believing Ansi to be weakly defended, he planned a bloodless strategy to seize it. To achieve this, Emperor Taizong intended to use Shimi, who had a special connection with Yang Manchun, the commander of Ansi Fortress. Apparently, Yang Manchun was deemed a traitor by General Yun for refusing to acknowledge him as the leader of Goguryeo after the late King Yanyu's death during Yun's coup. Meanwhile, General Yun summoned Samul, a military academy cadet still undergoing training. Yun assigned Samul a crucial mission to infiltrate Ansi Fortress and assassinate Commander Yang Manchun. Yun chose Samul for this task because he was originally a resident of Ansi before moving to the capital for military training. Influenced by Yun's propaganda, Samul believed that Yang Manchun was indeed a traitor and accepted the mission. Shortly after, Samul set out for Ansi Fortress. Along the way, he encountered two Goguryeo soldiers who requested to join him. The next day, they arrived at the border and met three Ansi residents struggling to push a cart stuck in the mud. Samul and his companions helped them. Unexpectedly, one of the Ansi residents revealed himself to be Commander Yang Manchun. Sensing something suspicious, Yang Manchun and his subordinate Chu suspected them of being Tang spies, so Yang Manchun ordered Chu to inspect their horses. When the identities of the two soldiers were exposed, they attacked Yang Manchun, but the two swiftly defeated them. As Chu prepared to execute Samul, Samul desperately explained that he was a cadet who had survived a battle against the Tang forces and that he originally came from Ansi. Samul claimed to have been sent to study and to assist Ansi Fortress. Despite his explanation, Yang Manchun remained suspicious and brought Samul to the fortress for further questioning. Upon arriving at Ansi Fortress, Samul was astonished to see something he had not expected. Commander Yang Manchun was a wise leader, deeply respected and loved by the people. Yet, Samul couldn't shake off the burden of his mission assigned by General Yun. That night, Samul approached Commander Yang Manchun to share information about the Tang army's plans to attack the fortress. During their discussion, Samul expressed his willingness to join Ansi Fortress in the fight against the Tang forces. He was then reunited with his clan members, further convincing the Ansi leadership that Samul posed no threat. At that moment, Commander Yang Manchun introduced him to the officers of Ansi's forces. Pong, the leader of the sword unit, and Wao Bo, the leader of the X unit. Despite growing admiration for Commander Yang Manchun, Samul was haunted by his original mission to assassinate him. However, after witnessing the commander's noble character, Samul decided to abandon the mission. The next day, Commander Yang Manchun and his troops began preparing the fortress for the imminent Tang invasion. They reinforced the defenses by erecting spear barricades and building fortress walls using clay and mud. However, the preparations were interrupted when Commander Yang Manchun noticed the absence of one of his officers, Pa So. Upon searching for him, Yang Manchun found Pa So with his younger sister, Bekha. The commander firmly forbade their relationship until after the war, fearing the potential tragedy of losing loved ones in battle. A few days later, Ansi's forces detected Tang scouts near the fortress. Commander Yang Manchun then warned his troops that Emperor Taizong and his massive army were approaching. He ordered everyone to prepare for defense. Samuel, tasked with guarding the fortress gates, was startled when Commander Yang Manchun instructed him to shave his beard. Torn between his loyalty to General Yun and the trust shown by Yang Manchun, Samuel struggled to act, especially with the fortress on high alert. Unbeknownst to him, Commander Yang Manchun had already suspected his true intentions, but chose to trust him nonetheless. Meanwhile, Emperor Taizong advanced toward Ansi Fortress with an army of 200,000 soldiers, a daunting number compared to Ansi's mere 5,000 defenders. Despite the overwhelming odds, Commander Yang Manchun inspired his troops to fight bravely to protect their families and homeland. In the first assault, Emperor Taizong ordered his stone throwers to bombard Ansi's walls. However, the fortress, built with durable clay and mud, withstood the attack. Frustrated by the failure, Emperor Taizong commanded his infantry to advance, supported by archers. A fierce battle ensued. As the Tang infantry reached the main gate, Commander Yang Manchun instructed Pa So to lead a cavalry charge, while Bekha directed the archers to provide cover fire from a distance. When the Tang forces finally breached the main gate, Samuel panicked. However, Commander Yang Manchun reassured him, revealing that the breach was part of a trap. The invading Tang soldiers were ensnared by hidden spear barricades, making them easy targets for Ansi's defenders. Commander Yang Manchun then launched a counterattack using a strategic encirclement formation. The Tang army was thrown into chaos, with many fleeing the battlefield. Recognizing his defeat, Emperor Taizong ordered a retreat, conceding their loss in the battle. That night, the villagers scavenged arrows still embedded in the bodies of fallen enemies, hoping to reuse them. Meanwhile, the soldiers celebrated their hard-fought victory with a communal meal to regain their strength. Amid the festive atmosphere, Samuel wrestled with his inner turmoil, haunted by General Yun's command to assassinate Commander Yang Manchun. The following morning, Samuel, overwhelmed by his conflicted thoughts, resolved to carry out his mission. In a critical moment, Commander Yang Manchun confronted Samuel, explaining the truth behind the accusations of betrayal. Contrary to what General Yun believed, Commander Yang Manchun had acted to save the kingdom, not betrayed. He clarified that open-field battles against the Tang forces were futile due to their overwhelming numbers. Instead, Commander Yang Manchun had focused on defending Ansi Fortress, knowing it was the key to protecting their land and people. Sending reinforcements to General Yun would only result in unnecessary losses. Their conversation was interrupted by Chu, who reported that the Tang forces were launching another attack. Without hesitation, the Ansi defenders abandoned their discussion and rushed to prepare for battle. Returning to the battlefield, Commander Yang Manchun was shocked to see the Tang army gaining the upper hand. His troops were struggling under the relentless assault. Samuel, desperate for a solution, urged the commander to take action. With no other option, Commander Yang Manchun immediately entered the battle. He ordered some of his soldiers to prepare bags of oil, intending to use them to destroy the enemy's siege towers, which had already brought many Tang soldiers onto the fortress walls. Under Commander Yang Manchun's leadership, the Ansi forces successfully dismantled the towers one by one. Witnessing this, Emperor Taizong was stunned. He found it hard to believe that a small fortress like Ansi could withstand his massive army, not once but twice. As a result, that night, the Tang forces retreated under the emperor's command. The next day, Emperor Taizong devised a new strategy to conquer Ansi Fortress. This time he sent Shirmi, a female seer, to the fortress with a specific mission. Her task was to convince Commander Yang Manchun that her visions foretold Ansi's inevitable defeat. She was instructed to urge the commander to surrender to the Tang forces. However, Shimi arrived not just as an emissary of the Tang, but also as a secret ally to Ansi. She revealed to Commander Yang Manchun the Tang's next plan, to construct an artificial mountain that would give them a height advantage over Ansi Fortress. Emperor Taizong intended to use this ambitious strategy to gain the upper hand. Not long after, Emperor Taizong mobilized his entire army to build the artificial mountain directly facing Ansi Fortress. With the sheer number of troops at his disposal, he was confident the project could be completed within 2 months. At the same time, the defenders of Ansi grew increasingly anxious as they realized that all their efforts might not be enough to counter this bold and unprecedented strategy. Not long after, Pa So, along with his cavalry unit, proposed a bold plan to attack Emperor Taizong's tent while the Tang forces were occupied with their work. Lacking a better alternative, Commander Yang Manchun reluctantly approved the plan. However, things did not go as expected. The Tang army had anticipated the ambush, turning the operation into a disastrous failure. Pa So's forces were annihilated, and only Pa So managed to return to the fortress, gravely injured. Before succumbing to his wounds, Pa So revealed that a spy had infiltrated Ansi's troops, shocking everyone in the fortress. After Pa So's death, his grieving lover, Baek Ha, begged Shimi, a renowned seer, to use her powers to bring Pa So's spirit back. Instead, Shimi confessed to being the spy who had leaked Ansi's plans to Emperor Taizong. Enraged by her betrayal, Commander Yang Manchun, despite their past relationship, declared her actions unforgivable. In a sudden act, Samul killed Shimi without waiting for the commander's orders. Driven by vengeance, Baek Ha set out alone to attack the Tang camp and avenge Pa So's death. However, her attempt failed, and she was killed in the process. Following these events, Samul disappeared from Ansi Fortress without informing anyone, leaving his whereabouts unknown. The next day, the Tang forces announced that their artificial mountain would be completed in just 10 days. Meanwhile, Ansi's defenders struggled to come up with a viable strategy to counter the looming threat. Inspired by his children playing with dirt, Commander Yang Manchun devised a plan to dig a massive underground tunnel beneath the artificial mountain. Gathering local miners, he ordered the construction of a tunnel designed to collapse the mountain structure. A few days later, Samul arrived at the Goguryeo capital to plead with General Yun for reinforcements to defend Ansi Fortress. Despite Samul's courageous plea, General Yun expressed disappointment, accusing him of failing his mission and betraying his trust. On the same day, Emperor Taizong ordered the Tang forces to launch their first assault from the newly completed artificial mountain. However, Ansi's defenders faced difficulties as their tunnel support beams had been weakened by rainwater. A miner then volunteered to bring down the beams with an axe, along with several others to complete the mission. As the Tang forces launched their attack, they were unaware that Ansi's defenders had executed a counter-strategy underground. Just as the assault began, the tunnel collapsed, destroying the artificial mountain. Commander Yang Manchun immediately ordered his troops to seize the remnants of the mountain. This bold move caught Emperor Taizong off guard, leaving him in disbelief. Determined to reclaim the mountain, the emperor commanded his forces to fight back, sparking another fierce battle. Ansi's defenders held their ground, using arrows and flaming wheels to repel the enemy. The battle raged on for days. Despite being outnumbered, Commander Yang Manchun led his troops with unwavering determination, firing arrows even as his hands became injured. When the supply of ammunition ran dangerously low, he called for the royal bow left behind by King Yangyu. Although the bow was notoriously difficult to use, Commander Yang Manchun, driven by sheer will, managed to draw it and fired an obsidian arrow directly at Emperor Taizong, striking his eye. As the Tang army faltered, the sound of approaching cavalry filled the air. It was General Yun's forces finally arriving to support Ansi Fortress after being persuaded by Samul. With the reinforcements, Ansi's defenders successfully drove back the Tang forces, securing their victory. 3 years later, Emperor Taizong succumbed to the injuries he sustained in the battle, and with his dying breath, he ordered that Ansi Fortress never be attacked again. Meanwhile, Samul bid farewell to Commander Yang Manchun, announcing his plans to continue his military studies in the Goguryeo capital. Moral lesson from the story: If someone suggests building a fake mountain to solve your problems, remember it might end up collapsing on your dreams. And never trust someone who's too good with secrets. They might be the reason your entire plan goes downhill.